Welcome to the Being Rare podcast, where we talk about navigating life with rare disease. I am Sarita Edwards, wife, mom, award-winning advocate, nonprofit founder and CEO, and your host. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Being Rare podcast. So March is Trisomy Awareness Month, and because it's the third month of the year, it seems fitting that it would be chosen for trisomy awareness and education. To those who may be new to the show, my son Elijah, our fifth child, was diagnosed in utero with a rare condition called trisomy 18 or Edwards syndrome. And a trisomy condition is a genetic condition where there is an extra copy of a chromosome. So your body has 23 pairs of a chromosome, which equals 46. For a person with a trisomy, they actually have 47 because of the extra chromosome. So we learned of Elijah's diagnosis in utero around 22 weeks pregnant. So for the month of March, we heighten our awareness about trisomy conditions. Like March 13th is Patel syndrome, March 18th is Edwards syndrome or trisomy 18, and March 21st is like for Down syndrome. As an organization, we do leverage the month to raise awareness about trisomy 18. We share resources and our input, and we celebrate our babies who are living with trisomy 18, and we remember those who are no longer with us. And so I wanted to kick off today's episode just talking about trisomy awareness. Make sure you follow us on social media to keep up with what we have going on. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel and to our newsletter, the Iwi Foundation newsletter. Also happening in the month of March, it is Women's History Month. In doing a little research about it, I learned that Women's History Month actually used to be Women's History Week. For a long time, we did not celebrate the month. We did not celebrate women for the entire month. They gave us just a little old week to acknowledge all the greatness that we do. The theme for this year is women who advocate for equity, diversity, and inclusion. And if you truly know me, you know that that is one of the core values of my existence to sound the alarm about disparities and injustices faced by individuals and women, specifically, women and people of color. So I wanted to make sure to raise some awareness about trisomy 18 and also celebrate the fabulousness of women throughout this month and even moving forward. So in Elijah news, Elijah got new leg braces this week. Yay! We are very, very excited. This is actually our second pair of braces. Many, many years ago, Elijah had braces and he outgrew them. And we got that first pair through a state agency. And when Elijah aged out of the agency, we had to find an orthopedic. And so we found a doctor, but they were not on board with giving Elijah more braces. They actually said that it wasn't necessary for a child who would never walk, for a child who would not walk anyways. And so, needless to say, we had the one visit with them and then decided, we were just going to take a break, and we did not see orthopedic for many, many years. Probably, I guess it's been 2 years now. We've been seeing an orthopedic who we absolutely love. And when we first started seeing him, we brought up braces and everything, and he didn't think Elijah needed the braces at the time, but it wasn't because he felt like there was no value or that Elijah would not walk. Elijah had already started standing and putting weight on his legs. And so he felt like it just wasn't necessary from that aspect. We just had a recent orthopedic visit and an orthotics and I think it's also called like a prostheticist, was at that appointment. And, he evaluated Elijah alongside our orthopedic doctor. And he said that, he feels that braces would be helpful because Elijah's, his stance is a little off, like the way that his feet plant. And it'll just kind of build that ankle strength and kind of help straighten his feet, which of course that's the goal. And so we were all on board with it. And so the first time we had AFOs, this time we have what's called a Sure Step SMO. I don't really know the difference. They look very, very similar to me. But clearly there's some difference with them. But yeah, so Elijah, we picked them up on Monday, and I do want to just shout out real quick. We are using a local specialist for this, and I just got to say the service has been amazing. The name of the location is A Step Ahead. This is not a sponsored shout out or anything. We just received really, really good service from everybody over there. They are a local provider here in Huntsville. And I think really the difference between this time and last time is, last time Elijah's his feet, they were fitted. The mold was taken. We got the AFOs and we were kind of just sent off on our way. This time, we went through those same processes, except for we weren't just sent away with some leg braces. They actually gave us a schedule and a plan in terms of wearing them. The goal is to get up to 8 hours a day, but it's a gradual process. So many hours every day until you get up to the 8 hours. And one thing that was completely different this time is they actually gave us a pair of sneakers to go with the braces. And I noticed how they fitted Elijah's feet. The last time we would put him on the braces and we would just put his foot in the shoe that we had. Well, we don't know, right? The shoe, the normal size that you wear for your foot is too small if you have a brace on your foot before you put it inside the shoe. And so it was just really, really great service, and just that extra detail and attention and just stuff that I just would not have thought about. That he needed a bigger size. And so they fitted his shoes and his feet for his new shoes with the braces. And, he's got 6 months of growth room. It's just a lot of stuff this time with this experience that looking back, I would have expected the very first time. But so anyways, really great experience. To A Step Ahead, we see AJ, who is amazing and really, really good with Elijah. Everybody who we've encountered, they are great over there. If you are looking for an orthotics or a prostheticist, I think that's the correct way to pronounce that. We strongly, highly, highly recommend them. Even if it's some ways of a drive for you. Some of Elijah's subspecialists are a little over 100 miles away. So I don't know. If you're looking for some great service, you don't mind a drive. If you don't live in this area, I say give them a shout, ask for AJ, and tell him Elijah sent you. So wanted to just kind of let you guys know what's going on with Elijah. Edwards syndrome, commonly known as Trisomy 18, is a rare chromosome abnormality. The Iwi Foundation is a 501c3 healthcare advocacy organization created to support families living with Edwards syndrome. The Iwi Foundation offers health literacy and community resources, comfort care, and financial support. Information at theewefoundation.org. So I did want to highlight some legislative stuff real quick. You know, in the rare disease space, a lot of times we are challenged with like just legislation and public policy, right? Back in September, on one of our newborn screening episodes, I had a couple of friends and colleagues on, Swapna Kakani, Jasmine Hightower, and Brooke Thomas. And we talked about newborn screening stuff happening here in the state of Alabama. So I'm really, really excited to share with you guys that the Zachary Thomas Newborn Screening Act, which is HB 77, was unanimously passed in our House of Representatives here in the state of Alabama. And that's just a huge undertaking. And I'm really, really excited to be a part of the committee who helped drive this forward. So I want to give you just a little backstory. The Zachary Thomas Newborn Screening Act, it is named for Zachary, who is a 14-year-old who lives in Foley, Alabama. He was born with MPS 1 that was not diagnosed by newborn screening. And because of that, the life-saving stem cell transplant was delayed until he got his diagnosis at a year old. And Zachary is Brooke's son. I think he's the oldest son. And Brooke is a dear, dear friend of mine. And so I wanted to just make sure to highlight Zachary and his advocacy. He's just a really, really cool kid. His mom is pretty stinking cool too. And I just truly, truly enjoy working with the Alabama team on just state policy stuff. So wanted to just kind of sound the alarm that that we passed unanimously in the House. We are at a standstill, just a little bit of a standstill right now because so much stuff is happening in the state of Alabama. Specifically right now, there's a lot of attention and focus on IVF. And so we haven't seen any movement within the past couple of weeks, but we're hopeful that that we can get to the next steps and hopefully pass in the Senate and then get a signature to get this thing in law. I do want to also, point out that this was a collaboration. This was a collaborative effort between advocates here in Alabama. Alabama Rare, which is Swapna's organization, really just took charge and spearheaded a lot of the work. It is in partnership with the Alabama Department of Public Health, the state lab, we have champion representatives. I mean, it takes a lot of stakeholders to get legislation passed. And so we're just really excited. And I'm just grateful to lend my voice, to learn more about the bill. You can check out alabamarail.org to learn more about our newborn screening efforts. You can visit the iwifoundation.org /newborn screening. So wanted to give that plug. Also wanted to talk a little bit about Rare Disease Week on Capitol Hill. So a few short weeks ago, I was in DC. I was there 5 days for Rare Disease Week. That is a program that's hosted by the Every Life Foundation. And there were, I think, 900 advocates there talking with members of Congress about legislation that we believe can create better health outcomes for the rare disease community. So it was just really, really good to sit down and have some conversations. I personally had really good conversations with my members of Congress and, their legislative staffers. I left feeling really good about the conversations that we had and the information that we talked about. While I was in DC, I had the opportunity to attend the very first White House Rare Disease Forum. It was an exclusive invitation only event. I'm so grateful to be on the list of people to be asked to attend and be a part of it. I don't know. It was just really, really it's really great to feel like there is a momentum shift in rare disease advocacy and just overall disease management. So thank you to the White House for the invitation, for hosting the event, and creating a space for the rare disease community to come together and talk about opportunities to move us forward. So wanted to give those legislative plugs while I was while I was there, or while I was in that moment. So let's see. In Iwi Foundation news, you may have seen it circulating on our social media, but we have an upcoming health equity workshop. Uh, it's actually going to premiere on Monday, March 18th, which is Trisomy 18 Awareness Day. The workshop lead for this is our 2023 summer intern, Vivian Duong, and she is an MPH student at the University of Pittsburgh School of Public Health. Um, Vivian, she was our very first intern, and we've really focused on health equities, an area that's familiar to her. I think she has a certification of some type in health equity as well. But she really took the idea of a health equity community workshop and expanded it tremendously. And so when we looked at her final project, we knew that we wanted to take this to the next level, to which we now have. She's also using it as a capstone for her program. But the workshop will premiere on Monday, March 18th. To register, you can just check out the Iwi Foundation /registration, and you'll get all the information about tuning in. So we're just really excited and really grateful for Vivian leading the effort. I do want to also shout out Cheyenne Walmsley, who is a certified genetic counselor. She is a member of the Iwi team, and she served as the mentor for Vivian for the health equity internship. And so just really, really grateful for the supporters that we have on this journey. And I wanted to make sure you guys knew about the Health Equity Community Workshop. I hope that you tune in and give Vivian some support. Also happening in Iwi Foundation news, I'm looking at my notes if you can't tell. We have a Trisomy 18 newborn screening research survey coming out. It'll actually come out the same week of the Health Equity Summit, around that Trisomy 18 Awareness Day. I have shared on several episodes that newborn screening was withheld from us. We were told that it wasn't worth the medical resources, that we should enjoy our time with Elijah because he was going to die soon. You know, Newborn screening is something that I'm very, very passionate about. Having had 4 other children prior to Elijah, I was familiar with the newborn screening process. And then, too, it's no secret that I worked in healthcare for 22 years before Elijah and now being in the nonprofit space. And so the goal of this project is really to assist family experience with the newborn screening systems in many, many states. And we really want to look at awareness and education opportunities. And so that survey is going to come out, and it's actually also being led by our interns. One of our fall interns, Harley Williams, actually started the project, and then our current intern, Michael Young, will pick it up and move it forward. And we're just super, super excited for the work that's happening at the Iwi Foundation. And if you see it on social media or in our newsletter, just make sure to share it. You may, there are more Trisomy 18 families than you realize. A lot of them have experienced loss, but when they know there's something that's out there that they can support, they do so. So we hope that you'll share it. All right, let's see. Where are we? So on the Being Rare podcast, we bring you intimate and sometimes difficult conversations. Sometimes we have special guests and co-hosts from the rare disease community. We talk to patients and caregivers, researchers and advocates, and we talk about different perspectives about just navigating life with rare diseases. On our March 22nd episode, so in 2 weeks, on our March 22nd episode, I will be joined by Kira Deneen, who is a pediatric genetic counselor and podcaster at DNA Today. DNA Today is a multi-award winning podcast, and Kira and I connected. A colleague of mine shared Kira's podcast with me. And just based off the information that was shared in that episode, I knew I needed to reach out to her. So I did. And once we connected, she asked me to be on her show, to which I was actually a couple of weeks ago. Check it out at DNA Today. And then I was like, okay, so now you got to be on mine, right? And so, of course, she said yes. Given that she's a pediatric genetic counselor and this is Trisomy Awareness Month, my focus in our conversation, I really wanted to highlight what it is genetic counselors do and what information are you guys telling to families who get a trisomy 18 diagnosis. And so those are all the things that we're going to talk about. I'm really excited for the episode. It will feature on, or it will air on Friday, March 22nd. So I hope you'll check that out. And I'll put all the information to her podcast and the one that I was on in the show notes of this show. All right. I think that's all that I have for today. I don't want to prolong the time. Just wanted to jump on and give you guys some updates and some highlights of some things that we have going on. As always, I thank you so much for tuning in to the Being Well podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media at Being Well Podcast. You can find our live recordings on our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you'll know when we upload new episodes. You can also find Being Well Podcast wherever you stream your traditional podcasts. So remember, every minute matters and self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. Until the next episode, be well. Holla. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please share it with others, post it on social media, or leave us a comment or review. Stay up to date on current conversations by subscribing to Being Rare wherever you listen to your podcast. Connect with us on social media at Sarita Edwards at the Being Rare Podcast. Until the next episode, be rare.